Hi, my name is Brett Linkletter, CEO and founder of Misfit Media, the best damn restaurant marketing agency on the planet. Here at Misfit, we help restaurant owners grow and scale their business through strategic online marketing practices. Right now, you're listening to our podcast, Restaurant Misfits, where we'll discuss all things related to restaurant marketing, management, and everything else in between growing a restaurant business. This podcast is also brought to you in collaboration with Total Food Service. For over 30 years, Total Food Service has provided the restaurant and food service industry with exclusive interviews to the latest news on products, trends, associations, and events. You can sign up for a free monthly subscription by visiting totalfood.com today. And from all the misfits over here, we hope you enjoy the show. Cheers. In this episode, I interview Laurent May, who's the CEO of Ready to Pay. All right. It's a fully integrated, contactless, mobile and self-ordering payment and loyalty technology solution that was used by over 2 million guests in 2020. Laurent has over 20 years of expertise when it comes to product management and the electronic payment space. And he describes himself as pretty much a payments nerd. We've seen so much change in the world this year, and more specifically in the restaurant space. And we've seen also so many new emerging technologies pop up from this. And if we look at the restaurant space now and onwards in the future, Laurent mentions that it's so critically important for restaurant owners to embrace these new technologies rather than shy away from them if they want to continue being successful. And so I can't wait to share. And with all this being said, let's dive right in. Laurent, how are you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me, Brett.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on the show. What a wild year it's been, obviously, but it seems like you're in like the exact right space to be. How's everything business-wise for you guys?
Well, I mean, this has been a crazy year, like you said, and I think the pandemic has really accelerated a lot of the digital technologies out there in most verticals. But if you look at restaurants, there's been a huge adoption of contactless payments and contactless technology, whether it be ordering ahead, curbside pickup, pay at table, which is where we started. So for us, our product really started around connecting our guests to the restaurants that they love in a digital way, and we did that through a QR code and an NFC tag at tables.
Yep.
And that was obviously starting to gain some traction. But when COVID hit, there's been a huge demand for a contactless experience across the different touch points in a restaurant. So digital menus, ordering to table, paying your bill has all been replaced by something on your own phone. So we've been really busy. There's a lot of excitement around this product space, and we've seen a lot of acceleration in this category.
Yeah. How long have you been in business for?
So Ready was founded as part of an entrepreneurship program that our parent company, IQ Metrics, we're based out of Vancouver, had. So the idea is employees can come to the leadership team and say, I have a great idea and I want to pursue it. And can we start a team and get a little funding to do it? So that's how Ready was born. Our CTO at the time had this idea when he was out at a restaurant, and he's thinking, I want to leave. Like I'm finished my meal. My 2-year-old is disintegrating, and I can't leave because the server's so busy they can't drop off the bill. Yes. So that's where the idea came from, was being stuck at the end of the meal and wanting to have a self checkout and move the tech, be able to empower guests to be able to check out and leave, like Uberizing the experience of checking out.
Totally.
So that happened a few years ago, and we've been on a journey ever since. Obviously this year has been a big inflection point for us.
Wow. So for those who obviously haven't seen the product, can you just give us a quick run through of how it works? I know I went through the demo before this podcast today, and it's pretty incredible how you guys do it. Does the point of sale connects to the QR code or the NFC chip you guys have, then someone scans it, and then their bill shows up and they can pay right then and there, right?
Yeah. So yeah, you got it. So that's how we started. Was we put unique QR codes and NFC tags on tables in restaurants, and it's a fully integrated solution like you talked about. So it's a really cool experience. You're sitting there and you want to go, like we just talked about, and you pull out your phone, you tap it, and boom, your bill comes up, perfectly integrated, up to date, and we allow you to check out. So that was no app download, no friction, no sign up. I don't have
Yep.
to enter any of my card information because I have Apple Pay or Google Pay enabled, and I just check out and then I can leave. On
Wow.
the back office, there's a lot of complicated stuff. I think one of the things that's super true is anytime something's simple, there's a lot of complexity behind it. So we're integrated into the point of sale, we're integrated into their payment stream, we're integrated into the treasury operations. But for the guest, all I have to do is scan the QR code and check out.
Wow. And then you also have online ordering through that, right? As well? Is
Yeah,
that a newer feature? It didn't start with that, right?
yeah, we didn't start with that, but it was a natural expansion for us. So if we think about Ready, we're really focused on the in-premise, in dining room experience. We want to make that the best possible for the guest, and also supplement the service that the servers are giving. So we've expanded into a couple categories in the last 6 months. One being order ahead. So we now have a pickup solution that we're powering some pretty big brands where I can go on the website or go on their social channels and be able to order from. We also added digital menus for when restaurants reopened. There was this big push, and even regulations were saying you can't hand out any menus anymore, right? You have to do single-use menus.
Absolutely.
Right. So we added this ability for digital menus, and now we're saving, we're saving 500,000 or 600,000, single-use paper menus a month right now, which is pretty cool for the environment.
Oh yeah, 100%. And obviously, I'm very familiar with the NFC chips and QR codes, and I think most of the world is familiar with at least QR codes at this point. But NFC chips is something that I haven't personally seen in a lot of restaurants yet. And I was thinking about this recently. Like, why is that not more of a thing? Are you guys like the only ones doing this?
Well, we think. Yeah,
well,
I think it's a good point, Brett. I think so. They technically do the same thing.
yeah.
But a QR code in a sort of upper fast casual or even a fine dining experience doesn't really look great. It requires, it's definitely sort of an era. So NFCs allow us to make these experiences a lot more seamless and kind of blend into the experience a little bit more. And it's also a much more magical experience. Like if you're on an Android or an iOS device, which anything over 10 supports it, you can just take your phone and hold it up to it, and boom, you're into the experience. You don't have to open the camera and find the QR code, and so it's a much more seamless experience. And this is something that Apple's going to be pushing with their latest app clips experience. They're going to have what they call app clip codes and NFC enabled ones too. So I think, QR codes never took off in North America, but they were everywhere. But I mean, I think you walk into almost any store today or any restaurant, you see QR codes everywhere. So yeah, we think it's a better experience for restaurants and better for guests. We optionally deploy it. It is a little bit more expensive, but it's something that we think
the NFC chip a little more expensive, you're saying?
Yeah, because NFC chips are a little more expensive. I mean, a QR code is just, you just print it. You can just print it out. It's just, but an NFC chip can cost a little bit of money because
we experimented with them a little bit for some time, and I think it is really incredible. I mean, it's just so cool what you can do with it. But I feel like the problem I saw with it was just some of the older phones that people don't know what to do, that they couldn't do it. Obviously, you've seen that's changing, right? And obviously, that's why you guys have the option of QR code or NFC, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah,
right?
We're seeing, so we've been deploying NFC with QR code from the beginning. And you're right. At the beginning, it was single digit as a percentage of access method, but now it's into the 20s, 30%.
Oh, wow.
So, and we're certainly seeing that on the iPhone side too, because of I think it's iPhone 10 and higher have active NFC scanning.
Got it.
So, that's a 3-year-old phone. So there's a lot of those out there. And we're seeing a lot more uptake, but QR code is the majority for sure.
Got it. And Laurent, tell us about your experience. How did you get into this whole space?
Yeah, so I'm a payments nerd. My background is in payments. Yeah, I started with an early. I was an early employee of a company called TO Networks that sold to PayPal a few years back. Stayed at PayPal for a year, and then this opportunity came through to join the team and sort of bring some of my experience from an enterprise perspective and just a payments infrastructure perspective to the team. And it was perfect timing because 6-7 months later, COVID hit and we saw a lot of growth.
100%. It's almost like, and I've been telling all our clients this because, I mean, I'll tell you this, beginning of COVID, right? I had no idea it'd be this big. No one did, right? I mean, we lost half our clientele right at the end of March and beginning of April. I mean, it was brutal, right? But a big struggle that we saw as an agency too was just the low adoption of some of this new technology. And it seems like now everyone's like, oh shit, okay, I do need this. I do actually need this now. I really need to do this, otherwise I'm out of business. I mean, that is, if we're gonna look at any upside from this, is that it's just people understanding of the necessity for this new technology, right? Because you no longer, like you said, right, the paper menu. Some people are terrified of it now. They don't want to touch it. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, pretty nuts. And you guys, I mean, obviously you guys are based in Canada. Are you guys spreading throughout the United States as well pretty quickly?
Yeah, so we're focused on North America. Both we're based out of Vancouver. We have team members across Canada and the US, and we're focused on North America. I think your adoption point is a really good one, though, Brett. I think a lot of people at the beginning of the pandemic were like, I just need something. And they deployed maybe a product, an auxiliary product from an existing vendor, or they just found something that they could deploy like over a weekend. And what they found was it wasn't effective, and it was confusing, and no one was using it, and they were disappointed. And I think that's where now is a good time for your restaurant clients and restaurant operators out there to think about their digital strategy. And this is a great opportunity. Obviously, there's a lot of negatives that have happened over the last year, but this is a great opportunity for restaurateurs to get off the third-party delivery service, to own the customer experience, to digitally transform their on-premise experience, and really modernize their operations. And so look for a vendor that can do those things and support you, rather than sort of a fly-by-night or an add-on. And that's what we think we are. We want to empower restaurants out there to sort of modernize their operations and start owning that guest experience. I think, we just launched a loyalty program with Spengo, a partner of ours, who's a loyalty and rewards platform in the restaurant space. And we're doing some really innovative things where when people sit down at a restaurant, you can now very easily enroll into a loyalty program and, earn and redeem points, something that is really hard to do because the transaction was happening at the point of sale, or was happening on a billfold.
Yes.
Now it's on your own device. I get authentication, I get identity, I get payment methods. I can automatically enroll in these things, without even passing any personal information back and forth.
Oh God!
Right? It's pretty awesome.
Amazing.
Right?
Wait, so,
it's amazing.
And there's no app download, right? You just scan it opens up right there through Safari or Google Chrome, whatever you're using, and then you capture it there.
Yeah, and so if I got Apple Pay, at the end of the experience, I say, I'm at Joe's Burger Joint. At the end of the payment experience, you can say, hey, do you want to sign up? If you signed up, you just earned 100 points. Just click this button to sign up, and boom, you've got your 100 points. And next time you come in, we recognize that you have 100 points. And when you get to the checkout experience, we automatically give you a discount. You don't have to touch anything. You don't have to talk to the server. You don't have to do anything. The rewards is automated. So we've done a great job with Spengo in making this integrated experience. But here's an example of what wasn't possible before because you didn't have the transaction on your own phone, right? We've offloaded this transaction from the point of sale in a check fold to my own device. And now I've got so many interesting things I can do, right? We're doing surveys We're also doing surveys at the end of each transaction. So instead of those little surveys at the bottom of the check that you might get 10 a month on, we're getting like 50% survey usage on our payments, right? So we're getting like hundreds and hundreds of pieces of feedback a month per restaurant. That's super valuable for your operators that they didn't even know they were doing great or doing bad before.
What are you guys capturing from the customer? Obviously, you get the payment method, obviously the bill, first name, last name, email, phone number as well. Or what kind of contact information?
So that's optionally up to you and how you want to collect information. We have with Spengo, we have what we call a starter account, which we actually all we need is your phone number, right? So we don't even have to pass any other information. If you're using Google Pay or Apple Pay, we automatically can get your email address without you even typing it in. So from a personal privacy perspective, I think we've struck this really great balance of providing a ton of value, but not like selling you out, if you know what I mean. Like giving every piece of information under the sun so you can get a free appetizer.
Absolutely.
But we let the operator reward and guest loyalty and grow their average check size and reduce the days of return usage to grow their revenue. And this is, it's a pretty cheap, it's a relatively cheap program from an ROI perspective. It's a quick add-on to Ready, and boom, you've got a full-blown loyalty system that works for payments in your restaurant.
What's the cost? Is it by location, I'm assuming? Right.
Yeah, so it's by location. So Ready can range anywhere from 80 to a couple $100 a month, depending on all the different services. And Spend Go ranges in that range as well. But it's very fast to get on our. We're turning tables 21 minutes faster. So if you
said also you're raising average check values. How are you guys doing that exactly?
Yeah, so on our ordering platform, what we're able to do is do upsells, right? So if you and many ordering platforms have this, but I think what's unique about ours is we're going to be bringing this technology to the table. So if I'm sitting down, we've got digital menus everywhere. Why can't I order the first drink? Why can't I order my dessert without talking to the server, right? This hybrid model of being able to sort of throw the check without actually relying on the server to provide that is, so part of the feedback we get is in our written feedback is I would have ordered another drink if the server came by. Like we get a lot of feedback like that, right? So it's like,
so Laura barrier to ordering. It's like, hey, on a whim, I can order something real quick. Or if you're at a group of people, let's say there's 8 of you guys, and hey, drinks on me, I'm getting tequila shots for everyone. You can quickly order.
You got it, right? And it's
God.
One extra drink is a big deal, right? And I think all your operators know that. They're trying to sell one extra drink, right? The faster you can get a drink to the table has the biggest impact on your guest check size, right?
Wow.
The quicker you get that first drink to the table. So if we can automate that and put the power into the guest hands, I think it's going to be really exciting. So that's coming out early next year, and I think we're going to be able to grow check values and increase service
amazing
times.
There's one thing that obviously when we speak to restaurants, and I probably personally speak to about probably 3 or 4 a day, but our team probably speaks to probably 100 a week, at least more, 150 a week maybe. The biggest pain points I always hear is employee turnover or finding good people, right? I mean, it sounds like maybe with a system like yours, look, of course you're still going to need a server, but maybe you needed 5 before and maybe you need 3 now instead, or maybe 4. And that's a lot of savings there too, right? Have you guys seen that at all? Or
yeah, so labor reduction is a big deal, right? Labor reduction is a big deal.
Totally.
I think this is another opportunity for this digital transformation is how do we make the existing staff more efficient and not have to have, when you talk to operators, Fridays and Saturday, they need to staff up, and sometimes they can't find that extra staff. So if you can offload some of that labor, running payments is the most low value thing you can do as a server or a manager, right? Like running around and picking up credit cards and running around and dropping them off. It's so low value. You'd rather want your servers providing great service, talking about the food, making sure everyone has all their orders and supporting the experience rather than running payments. So what we've seen is we're turning tables 21 minutes faster. What does that mean? That means that it actually takes you, by the time you've actually put up your hand and want to pay, by the time you actually close out your check, it is taking on average 21 minutes for the guest and the server to close that transaction out. That is a long time. Yeah,
it's amazing.
That's a long time. So imagine what you can do at that time. Your guest is happier. Your server doesn't have to do that, check dance back and forth from the point of sale, can support the rest of the tables they have. And the other thing that's quite amazing for servers and staff is tips are up. Because you don't have to wait and you're in control of the experience, we're growing tips for staff by from 15 on average to 17.5%, a 2.5% gross increase, which adds up.
This is amazing. Well, this is a lot of value here. Seriously, this is awesome. This is really, really cool. You said you're a payment nerd, and I saw you guys integrate. It looks like almost everyone. Do you have a favorite point of sale you guys work with, or not so much?
Yeah, for us, we're an integrated solution, so we're agnostic to the point of sales. Point of sales are a really important part of the experience for us because that's the sort of system of record. Don't have a necessarily favorite one, but we work with all the majors. We just announced an agreement with NCR Aloha, which is really exciting for us. Obviously, they're a very big player in the full service space and quick service space. So yeah, I mean, we have a big compatibility list. We're always adding more, but yeah, point of sale, we're agnostic, and we see them as partners rather than
Totally.
competitors.
Has it been difficult at all for you to get these integrations? I mean, like literally, I just hear all the time. I mean, for some people we've spoken to, other like software partners. I mean, it's like these guys are at it for years before they get the integration. But you guys, it seems like you're just getting them real quick. Any kind of secret to that, or
Yeah, I think
just
it's a testament to the product and the value that it can drive for operators, right? I think
yeah,
you're right. I think there's also a very big trend out there for point of sale companies to try to move into adjacent product categories. So point of sale,
yeah,
payments, ordering, they're starting to come out with their own products. But I think, you know, if you have a lot of demand for your product from actual operators,
yeah,
you can't ignore that as a point of sale. You can't say no to your customers forever. So
yes,
I think the secret is providing a great product that people want,
hundred
and
percent.
that's really not really a secret, but it's hard to replicate.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
No, yeah. I mean, you guys. I mean, this is really cool. I mean, literally, and it sounds like obviously you're continuing to innovate. You're continuing to grow. How many restaurants are you guys working with right now?
Yeah, so we're in quite a few brands right now. We're running some pretty big pilots right now as on the end of the pandemic here. I think one of our biggest success stories in Canada right now is the
Mm.
Earls group of brands,
Yep.
which is they've been a great partner for us. We're running their pay at table experience. We're running their order ahead experience,
Wow.
digital menus as well. So lots of exciting news on the restaurant front coming out in January, where we'll be hopefully converting a lot of these pilots that we're running into. And then on the innovation piece, that's a really key part of our sort of DNA. This is a fast moving space. We think
Yeah.
we're the category leader for pay at table in dining room, and we want to extend that to the experience we just talked about, which was around
Totally.
ordering and hybrid experiences. So
Yeah.
we're growing. We're growing our engineering and product teams. We're growing our technology teams. We're
But are
really
you? I
wanting
mean,
to
are you guys
invest.
like over 1,000 concepts, under 1,000? I mean, just general range
We're
of
under
numbers where you're at.
Yeah, under 1,000 concepts, but we're in pilots that with a lot of large enterprise brands that would take us well over
Totally.
that. Well over
Got
that.
it. I mean, the thing I love about you guys though is the biggest thing we preach here at Misfit is trackability. I mean, you see
Mm,
all these restaurants spending thousands of dollars on all this, in my opinion, BS marketing,
mm,
PR, influencer stuff, or whatever the case. Long story short, they have no idea if what they're doing actually works. They just
mm.
don't, right? Thousands and thousands of dollars per month. And so we come in and say, hey, guess what? You don't know what you're doing is working at all. And guess what? My system only does that. I can tell you exactly what you spent and exactly what you made. But your system also, I mean, you're literally like every single thing is being tracked in store. I mean, digitizing that experience, right? Removing cash,
Yeah.
optimizing, adding, increasing average ticket sizes, raising tips, the loyalty system, the surveys. I mean, that's really damn cool. Like, I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, I think this is we're coming from IQ Metrics, which is our parent company that focuses for in point of sale in the wireless space. One of the big things that they brought to the retail space was metrics and making sure
Yep,
that you're tracking every piece of your business in order to win. And we've taken that as
you
part of
have
our
to.
DNA. Yeah, we've taken that as part of our DNA. So we track table turns, we track tips, we track share of checkout, we track how many digital menus we're saving you, and you can get a report as an operator and saying, here's my report. Here's my ready performance report. I'm turning tables 21 minutes faster. All these values that we talked about. I've collected 25,000 pieces of feedback data in a year, whatever.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's important for operators to be able to prove ROI on their spend, because you're right. We look at an average. They've got all these different costs: point of sale, payments, guest Wi-Fi, marketing engines, loyalty. The list is really long.
Do
So
you
um,
what's is the remarketing you guys might do? Is that through your loyalty partner, right? Or do you guys do some
yes,
remarketing too?
we're going to be adding I would say not a basic but a starter pack marketing module for next year, where you'll be
Got
able
it.
to when customers are sitting in your restaurant and are able, we can identify that they were at Joe's Burger Barn. Next time they're
Yeah.
searching for takeout, we can retarget them for a takeout or delivery as
Nice.
well.
But it's for you guys, just to make it super clear. I mean, you guys are primarily focused on digitizing the in-store payment system, not necessarily creating an online ordering menu that someone can order at home, right? I mean, or are you guys doing that
Yes,
too?
we are doing that. We extended into that, and because we think what we want to provide operators is a end-to-end
Got it.
digital transformation, right? So we're doing that for Earls, for example. We're doing that for Custom Camel
Nice.
Burger in California. So the idea here is you have one Ready as a platform that you can use for in-restaurant and off-premise.
Got it. Incredible. Wow. This is really cool. I mean, seriously, this is awesome. I really, really like this. So let's talk about just like overall safety, because it's been from what I've experienced so far, especially now LA got shut down, right? I was speaking to one of our clients in Los Angeles, and the safety concern is such a difficult thing right now, because it's become, at least in the States, also kind of some of a political thing, and restaurants don't know what to do. It's one of those things where I spoke to one guy who said, look, I got some complaints that we weren't being safe enough. So I set up, I separated the tables out some more. We got rid of the paper menus. We did all these moves. And then someone else came in and said, these guys are way too hectic about the safety. These guys are communists. Screw these guys. So he's like, Brett, I can't win. First, I'm not safe enough. Then I'm too safe. In your opinion, I mean, like, what do you think is the move right now? What should restaurants be thinking about if they want to be safe and welcome customers in, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've always talked about options with our operators. So I don't think that there's just to your point, I don't think there's a one size fits all for the range of people's sort of attitudes towards COVID, and they're all valid. Yeah. I think some people feel safer in restaurants. Some people face, we're still open for dine-in in Vancouver, and there's, restaurants are relatively busy as long as you stay to your household. But in other areas you can only, be outside, right? So I think there's different approaches there. For us, we always look at the touch points. Where are the high touch points? Dropping off the menu is a really high touch point, right? Explaining, talking and explaining the menu is a touch point. Dropping off food, of course, we can't help there, but also payment is a big, you're handing over your credit card usually, or you're handing over cash. And they're taking that back to the point of sale. So I think platforms like Ready can actually reduce the touch points quite significantly, but at a macro level for operators, I think the ones that have the most success are the ones that provide the most safety options. So if, when you go to a Ready restaurant, they'll ask the question, is a digital menu okay for you? And at that point you can say no, and they'll give you a paper menu, right? If
Got it.
So I think you have to sort of have options available for your customer base. I think a one size fit approach, you obviously have to have the baseline of safety, of course, but and your local sort of health authority will tell you what that baseline is, but there's different ways of implementing, is my point. And having options, I think, serves your customers best, so they feel comfortable and your staff feel comfortable.
100%. And that's a good point. I mean, yeah, there is definitely not one size fits all. I spoke to someone on the podcast recently. His name's Stratus Morph again. He's got a few restaurants in the New York area. And his whole thing, we're talking about safety. He's like, look, this is the hospitality space. The fact that now someone walks into your restaurant and they point a gun at your head to take your temperature is not a welcoming experience. Like, hey, maybe that's being safe, but goddamn, that is not fun to deal with. And that, I feel kind of awkward, honestly, personally. I hate it. So what he did is he took a metal detector and turned it into a giant thermometer, essentially. So when you walk through it, it lets you know if you're above or below temperature, or you're
That's
good
cool.
or not. It's pretty damn cool. Yeah, I thought that was incredible. And I just think, so he's someone who's really adopted some of this new tech to basically make customers feel a lot better with the situation, right? But I just think, the whole gun to the head thing, I'm like, come on, man.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
It's an awkward experience.
Especially in you're right. In hospitality, some of these mandates are totally counter to providing a great experience. But I mean, they're required, and your contact friend there in New York is obviously pretty bringing some innovation to this problem, which is cool to see. And that's kind of what we're seeing across the industry. There's lots of innovation happening that's been relatively stagnant until earlier this year. It's quite incredible.
Let's talk about that. What other innovations? Obviously, the payment systems you guys are I mean, you guys seem like you're kings in this right now. So this is amazing what you guys are doing. Um, what do you see as changing now in the hospitality space? I mean, like people, I feel like people keep thinking, or at least it seems like that New Year's is going to come around and COVID's gone, and I'm like, that's not happening.
Yeah,
New Year,
yeah.
it's still here. But how do you think the hospitality space is specifically changing now, and how can we use technology to better it and continue thriving through?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think we're always consulting with our partners about this, our restaurant customers about this, and the kind of lens that we've always talked to them about is, what's the new baseline, what's the quote unquote new normal, and what's going to
Yep.
go back, to what it was before. And there's a lot of things that won't go back to what it was before, but there is some. I think this idea of getting off third-party delivery as a crutch for revenue, and owning your own customer is a trend that should and will be here. So
Yes.
having your own loyalty program, having your ability to market to your customer base without an intermediary that you're actually paying absorbent fees to, is something that is good for the industry. Obviously, the third-party delivery marketplaces serve a really important role, but I think it's not a very good relationship right now. And I think what this pandemic has done is going to rejig maybe that power dynamic, and provide platforms like ourselves and our partner like SpendGo the
Yep.
ability to empower them to market. I think something that's definitely not going to change. The second thing is technology is going to be expected in your restaurant, whether that's a digital
Mm.
menu, whether that's the payment experience, whether it's our order to table platform that's coming out. This is going to be something that is almost going to be, it'll be almost weird if you sit down and there's no technology at the table. And if you think about that a year ago, that would be almost, it would be the exact opposite, right? If
Yep.
someone was throwing, I remember I went to a restaurant and they gave me an iPad as my menu. I was like, this is weird. Like, just give me a piece of paper,
Yeah.
right? And now it's like I'm just gonna do it on my phone, and I look at the menu. It's so cool. I can look at the calorie counts. I can do like real time filters on gluten free or my dietary needs, and it remembers what I had before, and it tells me did I leave it a star rating for this food item, all this kind of stuff. So this
100%.
interactive experience is here to stay. But what's not going away is the need for great hospitality and servers and the ability to make that experience great. So the way we think about that is, how does technology supplement, not replace, staff, right? How do we make technology increase reduce some labor, but how do we supplement that experience and not replace it? So those are things that
Yes.
we think about, and that's where we kind of orient our product roadmap. But I think, maybe end of year is maybe when COVID subsides, substantially, and we're back to full open. And now is the time for your operators to really think about, if they already aren't, now is the time to think about the digital strategy. What is the marketing? What is the loyalty program? What is the payments program? What is the menuing option? What is the online ordering? What's my third-party delivery structure look like? And how do I tie it all together? That's the other thing
100%.
is if you got a vendor that's
100%.
it's got 6 different vendors, it's good, but I don't want 6 different logins as a customer, right?
It seems like I don't speak to any restaurant ever that's ever excited about third party apps.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't exist. Like it's like I can't imagine running a business and just giving away 30% to some random company for every single thing I do. I mean,
Yeah.
it's wild, but people still do it. So, I mean,
Mm.
I don't know. In your opinion, what do you think is the future of these third party apps? I know specifically DoorDash has been looking into trying to implement some more direct online ordering stuff. I don't know if it's really taken off for them or not. Personally, I'm not sure. Do you see them kind of phasing out, or do you think that they're going to be potentially big competitors of yours, or how does that look?
I think they've done, so DoorDash specifically is obviously a great success story. They're going public, at a huge valuation in the next few months. But I think they've had some, they've made some changes to their model, which I think has been really helpful. More transparency on what drivers make and what consumers pay and restaurants pay, which is really helpful. The other thing they've done is they've made their pool of drivers available to platforms like ourselves.
Yeah.
So we're now able to create a first party delivery. So I can go to joesburger.com and order for delivery, but I'm actually using DoorDash's driver pool. But
Yeah.
I'm not paying the 30% and I own the customer. So that's a great, there was tension between the two. They made a change. The program's
DoorDash
called
Drive right?
Yeah, DoorDash Drive, great program. So we're integrating that into our platform. So
Nice.
we're able to use that driver pool. I think so. The other thing is, third-party delivery made a lot of sense at those rates when the dining room was open, right? You were making money, the fixed costs were there, marginal sales, were profitable. But when you have no dining room and you have to be open to give away, if your kitchen is open only to give away 30% to a third-party delivery, that's upside down. That's not going to work. So I think, and I think we've got a lot of legislation that looks like it's kind of working through different jurisdictions that might cap some of these fees. So we'll see what goes there. They're here for the long term, but I don't see them as a mutually exclusive or either or. You should have first party delivery, but you should also be marketing to the casual fan or the casual eater on these third party deliveries and do negotiate the best price you can from a percentage perspective.
Got it. Yeah, it's just hilarious because it's one of those things where it seems like they're obviously thriving, but it seems like a lot of their customer base is not too happy, right? So,
well, yeah,
you can only imagine, right?
It's such an interesting dynamic because you're right, they're thriving, but operators are very upset. But that's the power of these platforms. We've seen it in social media and Twitter and Facebook. When you aggregate all these users and you're able to deliver customers to restaurants, that is worth a lot of money, right? That's why you're paying 30%. People think you're paying 30% for the delivery.
You're right.
You're paying 30% for the customer acquisition because they market to the customer. The app has been downloaded by millions and millions of people. They've done all that legwork for you. So there's a lot of value there, but I think it's just a little out of whack.
100%.
And I think there'll be some equilibrium here and some other options. But again, first party delivery and pickup is a really important part of every restaurant.
100%. No, I mean, and it's kind of crazy. I mean, we read an article that Yelp was saying that 44% of restaurants in the U.S. specifically have closed and won't be coming back. And when I look at our clientele before COVID and then what happened during COVID, it was literally our clients that would refuse to adopt some new technology. Unfortunately, I don't think they're coming back. And it's so sad because they're such great people. And I really want the best for them. And it's a terrible thing to see. But at the end of the day, like, I think you have a really great point. Technology is going to be something that's expected now in restaurants. And so those who don't adopt, they're going to die. It's just plain and simple. I mean, that's what it looks like. It's sad, but it's true. You have to adopt. You have to change.
Yeah, I think it's really sad because these independents are such big parts of our communities. I remember I walked by a little sandwich shop that's just down the street from me, and it's closed. Yeah. And I was like visibly upset because I know the people. I go there for coffee and a sandwich multiple times a week. They sponsor Little League. They sponsor soccer in the community. Like this is bad. This is bad, right? And I think there's going to be those restaurants will replace with new restaurants. But it's really important for those new restaurants to come in to think about this stuff right off the bat and be prepared.
100%.
And I hope those restaurateurs come back with new concepts and are able to be part of the community again, because one thing I've missed so much about being in quasi lockdown here in Vancouver is eating out with my friends and family. I mean, it's at the top of the list. It's going out to a restaurant. It's unreal how important
100%.
How important restaurants are to celebrate various events. And so, we're trying everything we can to empower restaurants. When COVID happened, we gave away our products and services for free for months. We're just trying to make sure that we're supporting the community because they support us. So that's the way we see it.
Absolutely. What are some other problems that you guys have seen in general that maybe you're seeking out to solve for restaurants in general?
Yeah, I mean, you talked about labor being the top of the pyramid of the problem set. So we think we think we're helping there quite a bit with our product. I think just one thing that's really interesting about restaurants is operators is they have to rely on Yelp and Google and Facebook and OpenTable reviews to understand how they're doing. And it's really interesting when we deploy our survey. So every single payment has a little 5-star Uber like review. we get so much feedback in that's almost overwhelming. But the thing that's interesting is it skews way more positively than the online stuff. So the online reviews typically are,
Interesting.
yeah, I didn't know this bias, but there's a bias there that's negative on these online reviews because they think it'll result in some sort of reward, maybe a free gift card, or I'll, come back and try us again and we'll give you a free meal. So there's a lot of negative.
Oh, wait, this is interesting.
Yeah,
I've
there's a
never,
lot
I've
of
never, I've never heard anyone say this. Wait, this
yeah,
is really cool.
yeah, we've seen this in our data that you look at our 5-star review average at a restaurant, it's
Yeah.
4.6. Then you look online and it's 3.9, and you're like, or it's 3.2, and you're just like, what's going on here? And it's because there's a negative motivation. There's a negative result that, or there's a if you're negative, you might get something in return, right?
God, this is so messed up. But you're totally right. And I've never thought about this, but you're 100% right. This is crazy.
Right. So what we do, we make it so easy. We take the friction away from a survey, just like an Uber, like we've all ridden Uber or Lyft. At the end of our ride, we give a 5-star review and we leave some comments. We've done the exact same thing for the restaurant experience, and we get so much positive feedback. So obviously there's negative experiences out there. Of course, we're not trying to downplay that, but what operators end up seeing is like, oh man, I'm doing much better than I thought, which is really cool.
Do you guys ever take that insight and then funnel it to those review sites? I mean, are you guys pushing that, or is that not part of the service yet?
We're not syndicating reviews yet, but what we are doing is we're empowering restaurants to make operational changes. So what's really cool about our system is we can actually get reviews by server. So you can run a report and
this is incredible.
Yeah, Brett's a great server. His average tip is 19.6%. His star rating is 4.9, and his average check value is $100. Laurent's not doing very good. He's at 4.1. His tip is 14.3%, and his average check is $86. Right? We can run this report for our operators. So instead of just looking at tips to figure out who you should staff on Friday or Saturday, you can look at a server report and use it as a training tool. This is not about a stick. This is about sitting down with Laurent, the bad server, and saying like, here's our benchmark. What are you not doing that's creating? Here's some written feedback that we've received. Didn't check on my food. Didn't ask for another drink. Like we get all this information, and people love hearing feedback. You love it from your clients. I love it from my staff. Servers go out into the world and they get no feedback, except from their manager, who may or may not see what's going on. Right now,
you're right.
We've opened up this fire hose of data, and some of the operators that are starting to use this are actually making changes to their staffing schedules to put, because one of the things that happens if you're a Friday server or Saturday server, it's a virtuous cycle. Those are the highest tip times. So you might even be an okay or a mediocre server, but because you keeps getting staffed on Friday and Saturday, your tips are higher. But then there's a guy that works Tuesday and Thursday, and he just can't get out of that. He can't get out of that time slot because he's on a slower time and lower tips. But if you look at a more objective sort of report about a server that we can provide, you will see that people will start moving in and out of these different slots.
Damn.
And then sales go up.
This is huge. This is. I'm so glad I asked this question. I mean, god damn, this is amazing.
It's the power of data.
It's something I've noticed for some of our smaller concepts versus bigger concepts is those that succeed are the ones that really look at the data. They really look at understanding, hey, people say our burgers are overcooked. Let's fix that.
Yep.
This server needs improvement. Let's fix that. But those who ignore this stuff, I mean, they're the ones who stay at the one location and never really surpass, past that because they're not looking at this stuff. This is so important.
Well, I think it's two things. It's like, how do you actually collect the data? And then how do you review the data as an operator or a manager? Like really, it's really anecdotal and it's all sort of observation, which is totally unfair to the staff because it's just like, then you play favorites and all that kind of stuff. If you get something that's objective and you get a report that comes on a monthly cadence, and I can sit, the manager can sit down with the bad server, Laurent, and actually take me through my report, I will become a better server and my operation will become better. And that's pretty cool. And that's part of our service. That's the free part of our service because we want to, make these restaurants better.
Wow. And I'm assuming that whole survey component is also for the online ordering component, off premise and on premise.
Correct.
Wow. Damn. This is awesome, man. This is so
It's,
awesome.
yeah, we've had a lot of fun building this stuff out, and I think yeah, it's great talking to someone like you that kind of matches Reddy's energy. So,
Yeah, no, I love this stuff.
It's awesome. It's awesome, right? Like, there's so much great things we can do for the restaurant community.
I just the restaurant space is exciting to me because there's so much happening. It's so massive, and it seems like a lot of operators are slow to move on these opportunities. But there's guys like us, who maybe these tech nerds, right? That get it's like exciting for us because there's so many things we can do with this industry, right? It's nuts.
Yeah. And one thing that's so cool, you come up with an idea like we just talked about, and you deploy it, and you get the feedback. It's so that's as a product guy, which is my background. That's what's so addictive and exciting about building any product is getting that feedback.
100%.
Actually making an impact on someone's business is really exciting.
If there's anything that you could tell someone or another, everyone listening to this podcast, and maybe it's just in a rut or just doesn't really know what their next step is in the next month or two, any kind of just small pieces of advice you could give some of these restaurateurs they should be thinking about if they want to be more successful right now? Any other kind of feedback?
Yeah, I think you don't have to boil the ocean. You from a technology perspective, I think some of these things can be a little scary. So you can find trusted vendors out there that can crawl, walk, run, and really transform your operation. Reddy is one of those. We'll be happy to talk to you. Our sales team will and consultants can talk to you about different options to get started. But there's lots of options out there. Reddy's not the only one. So find one that you can trust and get a program together, get a roadmap together, start thinking about best practices. How can you augment your restaurant to be a technology forward? You are right. If you do not have technology in your operation, you will be left behind. I think that there's too much competition, as you know, in the food space. Wallet share and seat share is very difficult to garner. But if you don't have technology as wind behind your back, it's going to be really difficult to compete in the quote unquote new normal. So,
and I think you said too, another important point, which is owning your customer, right? Not relying on these third party apps, just owning that customer so you can remarket to them, you can understand them, you could track them, you could look at the data, you can learn and improve, right?
Exactly. That's a key one. I think that might be the biggest thing that comes out of this horrible situation that happened in 2020 is a complete 180 on customer ownership for operators. And find a vendor that will support your ownership there from your marketing and this is about rewarding and loyalty your stark raving fans, right? How do we get people that love your brand to come back more and spend more and have a great time in your place? And you can do that, and you don't need to rely on third-party delivery for that.
100%. Laurent, this has been awesome. Really, really appreciate your time today. For those who want to look more into Reddy or more into yourself, how do they do so?
Yeah, check us out at readytopay.com. So readytopay.com, excuse me. There's a demo right there, which is really cool. You can just pull up your phone and scan a QR code right on our homepage, and it'll take you right into our experiences, which is really fun. There's forms there to contact us. We'd love to speak with you, consult with any of the operators out there and on some ideas to get you guys started and on this digital transformation journey.
Awesome, man. I really appreciate your time. And wow, that was just really, really incredible. I think so much value from today. Guys, again, what we'll do on this podcast is right below, there'll be the links to his website and everything else we might need, social links, all that kind of stuff. But again, appreciate your time, Laurent, and we'll be seeing you around. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Alrighty.